Testing. All right. Welcome to the show. Your host, Alpha Prime. The silliest name in the business. We's got a nice little dump off this morning. When did it start? About an hour ago. I want to short it already, but I'll have to wait and see how the morning plays out. Hopefully it will be in and out today, quick, lickety split. Liquidity is all the way up here. Hasn't really caught up to this drop just yet. Test my orders right quick. Did some thinking about risk management yesterday, and I'm gonna try to scalp with a 15-point stop. It's gonna be hard for me because I hate getting screwed by stop runs and chop, but I'm just leaving myself open to too much risk. I'm normally a pretty good scalper. Got an 87% win rate lately. It's a 16 winning streak. So and that's with a 35-point stop. That's with wanting to take entries and then passing them up because, and we're off. Basically because I know that a 35-point stop means that I'll be trading for the rest of the fucking week trying to get it back. And so I end up, missing the entry and taking the impulse. Which usually works out still just fine, but I'd rather feel more free to take entries when I see them instead of hesitating so much. And hopefully a 15-point stop will help me out with that. Hopefully it will also allow me to keep my high win rate. It's just up in the air right now. So this first day of trying that again. Been to traded many days with a 15-point stop, and it's just always those screw jobs. But anyways, I'll be risking like much less, and a couple of losses won't be the end of the world. Give me a fighting chance to stay in without hitting my max loss for the day. Little whippoorwill on the bottom here. Not on the 5-minute, but on the tick chart there is. Not bad. First trade jitters out of the way. Woo-hoo. It's as easy as that. Woo. Of course it didn't run. It just went back and stopped out my break even as it normally does. Good morning, Catherine the Great. It's a nice, nice start. I think that's what I made in the entirety of yesterday. And believe me, it was a lot more stressful than what I just what I just did. In fact, I'm feeling real good. Don't even. It's another psychology thing that I'm dealing with right now. It's just, taking that first trade, having it get you out in 5 seconds. It's tough to want to take another one after that. Unfortunately, I probably have to. Just not sure. Still ripping down. Looking for that all-time high number from the previous one. What do we got below? Left shoulder and the NWAG from early October. Oh, we just tagged an old all-time high. Will we find some orders there? You see a little bit of buying activity on that level. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take off my contract size. So now I'm risking 30 points per account, so that's 90. So half of my day. That feels better. And look at that. Like if it would have just went instead of come back up and test it again, it's just like, come on. I had a great entry. My stop was right here. I would have got stopped out if I didn't move to break even. Got out in 2 seconds. And then of course it freaking bounced up here. It's just stupid. You can never get a good move unless your stop is not at break even, because it just will never work. I hate that part. I hate it. Right before the big move happens, every time, without fail, it will top tick everybody's who's got stops right above the entry. Every time. Drives me nuts. was surprised my win streak still is being maintained because I changed accounts and I thought it was bundles of accounts that does the win streak stuff. But pleased to see that it doesn't. The only trouble here is that I'm up to 17 right now, and you can't keep this up forever. Probably I'm I'm not gonna jinx it or anything. But the higher my win streak goes, the more impossible it will be to break it again. So it's kind of fun. I was almost looking forward to having it reset because of my accounts. My accounts changed, and turns out that I fixed that problem already. So we got 17 wins in a row. I am trading 2 brand new funded accounts today, along with the one that I've been working on for a week and a half. Because we passed 2 at evals yesterday. So last time we blew up, when I lost all those Bulenox accounts, I bought one take profit trader account, and I passed it. But I passed it halfway to passing it. I picked up 2 new evals to copy trade them. So I had 3 accounts going, and I had passed that one a while ago. So I've been working on a funded account for a little bit, and now I got 3 take profits pros that I'm trading. Thank you for that wonderful no fee 40 code. That there's no activation fee once you pass the eval. It's the greatest deal in the business right now. And my new I spent the time working on my analyzing some of my trading history, and thinking about psychology and risk management, and really dialed my plan in last night. We got a new idea for the stream. We're gonna be I think I'm pretty resigned to the fact that I shouldn't be trading past 10 o'clock, no matter if I'm in a hole or trying to scalp my way out of something or whatever. It just doesn't seem great. I'm actually the stats don't lie, and they actually say that I'm not very profitable past 10 o'clock. And that makes sense, if I'm trying to come back from a loss in the 8 o'clock hour, 9 o'clock hour, then I'm taking riskier entries. I'm taking boredom entries, taking desperation, revenge trades, tilting, you name it. If it's happening, if those things are happening, it's probably after 10 o'clock. So one would think that. Once again, in the best entry of the day, tried to leave a runner, but I was protecting my risk too closely. If I get, I am a different trader. Like even from a different month, even from some months ago. And the stop to break even is something that I've always gravitated towards to protect myself, and maybe I don't need it as much anymore. Risking, because I set up my my scheme. Like I don't even have to think about it. I just right click, put an order on the thing, and that's my style right there. You see it. It's a little teeny tiny thing, and I got I took 90% of the position off at 12 points, and it gave it to me in seconds. And then I had one runner. So, like, one runner. What are you going to risk on one runner? Does it really need to have break-even protection if you just got into a trade that paid you 60 points per account in 5 seconds? I don't know. It's something to think about. Not right now. Right now, I'm trying to kind of reset, reboot my mind to realize that I am a good trader and I have a excellent win rate and I'm an excellent market scalper. Like what I mean by market scalper is like just hitting the market button. Like I see a pattern and I take it. And I've already proven to myself that I'm pretty good at it. And part of the reason why it's been such boring trading is that I got a 35-point stop on 6 contracts, and if I don't take those entries, it's because I'm terrified of taking a full stop, which is there because I don't like being stopped. So it's like you don't realize that you should have cut your trade 3 minutes ago because you have this 35-point stop that's supposed to be protecting you, and really what it's doing is allowing you to be wrong. And I compromised with a 15-point stop. I was considering even going even lower than that, and depending on how I get on and how I feel about the entries and I haven't even really given myself a chance to trade those kinds of stops because I just assume that I need it. I just assume that I need it, and I haven't really even given myself a chance to enter with tight stops in some time. It's been a long time, and believe me, I've been through my phases with trading, and there was one point in my life where I was consumed with the idea that I was going to enter in on 5-point stops and that my entries were going to be so freaking razor tight that I didn't want to risk more than 5 points. And that was my risk brain being like, you should be at 5-point stops because otherwise, what are you even doing this for if you can't even enter without it going against you 5 points? And in the NQ, it's pretty much impossible. I wouldn't say it's impossible, because I've been close. Like, back in the day, I was still good. I was still a good scalper back in the day. It's just I wasn't ready for 5-point stops, and I may be now, but I doubt it. But that's the reason why we're doing this, because of the doubt. And I want to get rid of that, the doubt that I'm not a good trader, or I don't know what I'm doing, or whatever stupid psychology stories you tell yourself, and the reasons behind your failures. So the idea for the stream is that tonight I'm going to build a trade journal, and I think I'm going to start ending my stream at 10 o'clock. And if things go well, I should be able to make my nut before that time. And then I'm going to spend like a half an hour at the end of every show, and I'm going to go through all my entries bring up my trade journaler, and there should be a lot of interesting insights that we can go over together. Because it's going to have access to all my stats and history, and I bet you there'll be some kind of AI analysis along with whatever you're doing, and I'm going to bring up a web page that'll have my trades for the day already there. So all I have to do is just like, yeah, I remember this trade. This is what, I took an entry, blah blah blah, and do a little narrative about it, and then get a screenshot of the chart so I can keep track of my trades. And I'm at a point now where I'm not having. My goal is that anytime I'm in the market 18 times or 20 times or more, sometimes back in the day there was like I traded like 200 over 200 contracts in days, and this style, I'm hoping that I'm going to be relying on my excellent win rate and my copy trading to get what I need out of the market in very few trades. So it'll be much easier to start journaling, and that's always like something that's often said every time you one of the big pieces of advice out there for traders is that you should journal your trades. And I don't think I've been ready up until this point, and I think I am now. I definitely want to do that. I want to know the numbers, and I want to know how I win and how to keep doing it and how to get better at doing what I do. Because there's new strategies that I love to try and whatever, but like at my core, I've learned my trade, and that's what I do. I'm pretty much a complete trader at this point, meaning that what I do is what I do, and I'll always be looking for something cool. But it's about time to get around to the fact that this is what I've trained myself to do, and I'm ready to make it better, and always be improving that personally. And I think I can do that by having some rules about trading, and being getting rid of the crazy risk-taking behavior in my trading because of whatever it is. It's desperation or the insane drive to succeed. That's more like what I'm talking about. And in that quest, there's some things that you wish you hadn't done, and it's time to realize what kind of trader I am and how to make that trader better, not how to constantly reinvent myself, and because I'm pretty confident that I'm a winner. So there's that. Before, like, you blow up an account and you do all this stuff, and it's not because you're a bad trader. It's because your psychology is not right, and it's embarrassing to admit it, but it's like 90% of trading is having your head right. So, you know, I've tried to think about some rules and think about that kind of side of things, risk management, last night. I've done that before, but it just hasn't really held. And you know, I'm going into this one, into this time, thinking that I'm a good trader. It's like the premise of the whole thing is that I'm a good trader. I don't have to worry about that part. What I have to worry about is entering in with 35-point stops, or it's entering or DCAing when the position's against me 20 points already on a 35-point stop, and I move my 35-point stop and take another load. You know, and I'm good at that too. There's no there's no denying that. It's just like doesn't work every time, and when it doesn't work, you're putting everything that you work so hard for at risk. You're literally just throwing the entire thing into the breeze at that point. Even though there's an 80% chance that you're going to be just fine, the 20%, you know, it's not a good risk. 20% of a 20% chance of utter devastation is degenerate gambling behavior. Even though it doesn't feel like that, on its surface, it doesn't feel like that. But in reality, it is. And you know, it's time to start realizing that kind of stuff. Working on trying to get that removed from my trading. You know, when I entered that one in, I just the morning trade, I entered it in and I didn't even look at it. Like I was looking at chat or something. I noticed that chat was disconnected, so I was reloading my page, and by the time I looked back to my charts, I was already profited. That was pretty cool. So I'm excited to build that trade journal. That's going to be real cool. It should just be like a day's worth of work, and it's gonna all the work that I've already done on the stream. It's gonna like it's gonna be like an add-on to it, because like I have a lot of stats, and that's this software that I built in Sierra Charts to update that data every second. So my Sierra Charts is actually piping all that data my stream reads into a file every second. Basically every bar update it does it. And so I'm going to use that system to dump my daily trades and any other interesting statistics into the files on the computer. And then I'm going to have some kind of interface that I'll load up on the stream that reads it all and has a nice theme for everyone. And I'll type in little boxes, and all the tools and doodads will be there, and I'll just run through it real quick at the end of my stream and talk about the day's activities, and then call it a day. It's insane because like it's already 9 o'clock, and it doesn't feel like I've been watching the charts for an hour or half an hour already, and I only got an hour of market time left before I shouldn't be trading. That's not something that it's like an actual like data driven decision. I can see my trade histories, and I got a good analysis of it last night, and the data is clear. And whatever that means, it's like I said, it's probably late in the day trying to desperately come up with a trade that will get me green or whatever, or if I made 18 points that day and I'm like, come on, there's got to be some money here, and then taking a loss in 10 o'clock hour. I'm actually good in the 11 o'clock hour, which is interesting. But other than that, there's 8 to 10, and then 11 to 12, and then after that, it's not great, not worth the risk. Even overnight trading, made a few $100 overnight trading here and there. But I also realized that overnight trading is more of a crapshoot. It's risky behavior, because what happens when the market opens? It ranges over VWAP almost to a T. Every single day starts with some kind of pump dump thing over VWAP. Up and down, up and down. Sometimes you get a nice run at 2 in the morning. But for the most part, the beginning of the trading day, when everybody gets online, Pine Tree and Stock Tiger and all this shit, those aren't my style of entries anyways. They're more like little swings. They're not like something you can be like, oh, I'm gonna get out in 5 seconds. If you get into an overnight trade, it's gonna take you at least an hour. At least. And at that point, you're trading such a slow market that it's like it doesn't seem worth it. It seems like a desperate play again. You're like, oh, I can make some money overnight. It'll be great. I can trade 23 hours a day. And sometimes it works out, but for the most part, I think trading overnight has caused me more stress than it's been worth over the years. I could say that with an absolute certainty. If I wanted to trade such a slow market, I might as well just trade gold. Which I don't. I don't touch gold. I have traded it overnight. Let's bring up some of the plans that I was talking about yesterday. Trading system reset. It's like you blow up 4 accounts in 10 minutes. You work on them for 30 fucking days, and in 10 minutes you can lose everything. That can't happen. It just can't. And I understand that most YouTube people are just like burning through accounts, being blah blah blah, go. But are we trying to become professional traders? Or are we trying to be entertainers? I think the answer is clear in a lot of cases, but in my case, I'm not trying to be an entertainer. I'm a trader first in my mind. I want to be more successful trading than I do want to be successful as a streamer. In fact, I don't even give a shit about streaming. It was just something that I thought that I could do while I did something else, and it seems like it's working out all right. It's good. It's slow, but like I said, I have more faith that I will put it together as a professional trader than I do a YouTube star. And that's fine. And either could still occur. So I think I'm in a pretty good spot. And most of the time, I'm operating under extreme psychological pressure, and it causes me to do things that I shouldn't, and not because I can't do it, but because it's stupid. And the odds and the statistics don't work out. Okay? It's not something that you can overcome. It's something that you could just have to say, I can't do it this way because nobody can. You try to cut corners, you try to make it as a gambler. Try to do it that way, and you will lose. It's just a realization that I have to get through my freaking head. "17 trades in a row." I am a true scalper, and worrying about swing trades and entries and robot traders, those are all interests for me. I dream of having a system that comes from my brain, that I could code a robot to trade for me and put it on a server somewhere in Chicago, slap on my charts, and have the robot trade, and I don't even have to think about it. And it's not even what I'm doing here, and it's completely separate. It's not my thing. I am a scalper. I can see the patterns. I've seen them a million times. I know how to scalp out little chunks of profit, and I probably could be much better at runners, but I haven't really practiced that much with it. I do know that I always get stopped out of break even on runners, and that's fine too. The deal is that two of them in a week might pay you an extra $60. And I'm either cutting them for 4 points because I want that extra 4 points. I can't give any back, or I get stopped out. This is I know that trades that last over 3 minutes for me are not my bread and butter. I know that if my trade is I'm in the market for longer than 3 minutes, it's a huge warning sign for me to get out. And so I'm gonna probably code some kind of flashing warning thing. You have been in a trade for 3 minutes. Might even use Huey. But whatever it is, I'm gonna have to come up with a way to be like, you're in this trade for too long, man. You're not a fucking swing trader. My average losing trade hold time is 11 minutes. It's 3.5 times longer than my winning trades. With a 35-point stop, you can imagine. It's like, oh, we're still in it. We're only in twice the amount of drawdown that I've made in the past 2 days. How is that smart? It's gonna be a sad day when I take a 15-point stop. I'll tell you that though. It's not something I'm looking forward to. I'm already feeling dread about it. like I could very easily have been short on this thing instead of this. And if I hadn't already profited on this little teeny tiny support hold on this whippoorwill. I mean, this is a whippoorwill on the short-term chart. I'm looking directly at it. And I just saw it, and I saw a red candle, and then I'm boom, in. And then this very little teeny tiny movement is all it took. It got me out 10 points. I was in like another 8 points of profit here and there, you know, just for a little bit, and then boom, took you out. That's tough. It's gonna be tough. But you know, already today, you know, I've made $400, and it took me. I looked down at the time when I gathered my wits about me, and it was 8:33. So you know, within the first 3 minutes of the freaking market open, I already had made $400. It's not exactly $600, but you know, I remember my first trade yesterday was $50, and my second trade was probably $50, and I was around this P&L pretty much all day, and I stayed on the charts until noon, and I'm wasting time talking about the chop fest to no one, and you know, thinking that I was gonna get into another trade, and I knew I wasn't. You know, deep down I could feel that I was like, I've already made $400. You know, I'm not gonna feel good about getting into another trade this late in the afternoon, risking my entire day's worth of profits and more at noon or whatever it is. You know, what happens if you lose? Then you got the last shit hours of the market to try to make a wage. I already did it. You know, I'm done for the most part. Once you do that, once you make that first trade, and it's like, you know, you didn't get stopped. You made $400. I just kind of lose all interest in risk at that point. And you know, in the future, it's still tough to say. Like, you know, I would almost rather double my contract size on a 15-point stop and get out for $800 than I would take another trade today. But those are the kinds of things that I'm going to be talking about with the trade journal. Those are the kinds of things I'm going to be thinking about when I'm going on this 15-point stop journey, tightening up of the process of being a trader. You know, I already proved that I could do it and be consistent over long periods of time. Literally, the only issue is those one day out of 30 where you take two 35-point stops. Literally, that's the only problem. So, you know, I'm just gonna have to stop doing it, and then go day by day. And pretty soon, you know, it's just like all the other traders out there, Tanya or Trades by Matt, they're making $200 a day per account, and that's it. They just say, okay, I made my $200. I'm gonna go touch grass. And essentially, that's just what I did too, just now. And I know that that's out there. You know, I have a extremely high scalping percentage. And if I just do it every day and don't risk the house every single freaking time I enter, I think it'll start, training my brain to stay out of fight or flight mode in the market. Friday, of course, is my worst day. 10 o'clock hour. Even in the 10 o'clock hour, I have a 60% win rate. I have a negative P&L, but I have a 60% win rate. In the hours of after 1 o'clock, after 1 o'clock, I have a 28% win rate. And that's less the fact that I'm not seeing things right. It's more of, if I'm trading by that hour, I'm just like, oh yeah, I could make money on this, the murder bot fucking crazy shit, and it's just stupid behavior. And so I think some of those losses were when I took that $700 loss a week and a half ago, and I was still $700 down. I had been up like to 400 or something like that, but I had since taken a loss, trying to scout my way back to break even. And I was at 707, or I was somewhere around there. And then I took another loss in the after close, because I held a position after close. It was already against me, and I was just praying to the murderbot gods that it would get me out in profit. And I ended up cutting it at like 345. It's just stupid shit, stupid behavior, and that's in my stats, and that's the reason why I have a 28% win rate. It's not because I can't scalp in those hours. I sure can. It's just when I'm doing it, as of late, my brain is completely squirmy. I have a squirming, diseased gambler brain at that point in my trading, and it shows. It's kind of like it's not really trading. It's more like playing Russian roulette. You get lucky, five of the six chambers, and the sixth chamber, it does not bounce. Okay. Just have to give up control. Put my 15-point stop in there and be like, Jesus, take the wheel. Because you really can't control it. You can't control the market, period. And the only thing you can do is not let it control you. It's like it's a ass backwards risk reward ratio. 2.5 to 1, risking $400 to make 180. Just doesn't make sense. One bad day wipes out weeks. So, but that was actually an 11 point stop. That's what I rolled with this morning. It wasn't 15 point stops. It's 11. Almost 12. I don't know why I decided to go with 11.75. I was going through my OCO orders, you know, the brackets that you see. You put an order. These all automatically show up. So it's 11.75 stop, and the first load is at 1 to 1, and then the runner is at 2R. So it's, you know, I can see myself pulling this out a little bit more, but I think this is a good starting place for the reset. And it was even a tighter stop than I had remembered agreeing to. And I went with a 11.75 because basically I had that 35 point stop in there, and I saw my 12 points on the board. You can see it tells you how much profit how much you're risking and how much profit you're gonna make. And I just clicked on my stop, and I clicked on the little down button until the profit was equal to my first take profit, and it ended up being 11.75 at the time, and that's what I rolled with. I hit save. I said, "You are entering in with this OCO scheme tomorrow." And I even this morning I forgot that I had agreed to 11.75 stops, and I've been talking about 15 point stops, but that even makes it cooler that I entered in that's that tight of a stop. And I also talked about putting 10 point take profits, and I ended up with 12, I think. Yeah, 12. 60 points in account. So, pretty great. On 3 accounts, that trade was $400 in profit in literally less than 15 seconds. I could live with that. So some of the other rules that I've kind of been thinking about, and or informally talked about this before, but in this scheme, you know, like I wanted to say that if I lost twice in a row, that my day was over. And you know, I think that I can get around that now, because like you're thinking, okay, I know I've said this on the stream before. At a 35 point stop, like take 2 losses in a row, I'm done. I'm done for the day. Well, it's just like hollow words, because by that point you're $800 in the hole, and you're like, I might as well just fucking quit. Because you're taking 2 35 point stops in a row, and your accounts are pretty much blown already by that point. So what's the point of stopping at 2? It's just stupid. And so now with the risk reward a little bit better, more advantageous for you, you know, hitting 2 stops is not that big of a deal. I just made $400, you know, in one trade, and hopefully, you know, that'll be the rule there. It's like 87% win rate. I don't expect to lose that much. I was a little nervous with the tight stops though, because you know a lot of the times I ended up profiting on entries that just go immediately against you, because you're just like, you know, they tried to fuck you, and your 35-point stop kept you out of that bullshit. And I don't have that luxury anymore. But I was nervous about taking a win rate hit, because I do rely on those stops to keep me in the market when the market is just not playing fair. And so I figured maybe, you know, maybe I'll take a hit on that, you know, but I can't even see myself below 60. I haven't been below 60% win rate in months and months and months. Like normally I'm in 70 something, high 70s. And in the past month I've even stepped it up even more. I'm in the high 80s. And you know, so that's cool. So I do have a two loss rule now with you know, with two contracts that I got queued up. That's a $47 loss. You know, I could deal with that. I've cut trades. I've cut trades for $47, and still traded and still won and still was green on those days. You know, $47 is nothing, considering that I just made $120 in 5 seconds. And then, you know, I was thinking about 2 setups a day. But six to 7 trades per day is my absolute max. And I have a 2 loss rule, and I have a $300 max loss. Period. If I'm over that, my day's done. $300. That's 2 losses. So somewhere in there, you know, if I lose 2, or if I lose $300 per account, my day's done. And that's gonna be hard. But if I work really hard on these days where I'm in my 87% win rate zone, and I'm racking it up, you know, that'll be the losses will be few and far between, and it'll keep me safe on that side. And the next day I can come in and haul off $400 in 5 seconds, and everything will be just great. But the key is being in the game, you know. That's the most important thing that I have to get over. My target is $300 to $600 per account. I mean, per day, not per account. And I'm over that. I'm right in the middle of it. So some days I'll have those $600 days. Some days I'll have 1,000. Some days I'm gonna have 300. Some days I'm gonna have, like I did a couple days ago on fucking bank holiday. I made I think $30. You're gonna have those days, but the single biggest improvement I can make in my trading is putting the guardrails in place that will keep the $800 a day losses away. And that's what this is about. And I've only successfully walked away from the charts just a few times in my life. You know, I've heard it a million times. You know, just like last week, something when I was $800 down on my accounts, and I went into Alpine's channel and said, if you just lost $800 on a $1,200 max drawdown, what would you do today? And Alpine just very plainly said, you know, you need to walk away, man. I know it's not what you want to hear. It's not what you want to do, but you just have to stop trading. It's the single best advice that I can give you. I've heard the same thing from Methodical Man, and they just talk. They just tell you like it's a matter of fact. Like this is the no-brainer. You know what you need to do, and they tell you in a way that says, "But I know you're not going to do it." Which is true. And to be honest, you know, the tighter stop didn't really feel that bad, and you know, I didn't take any heat on it at all, But you know, when I entered, I saw my stop was right above this candle, right on the wick of it, at like 472.75, and I said, well, that's just as good as any place. You know, if this trade is gonna work, it should work without tagging my stop at the absolute high of the local structure, the whippoorwill. And so that not only tells me that I'm entering in good, I'm entering well. And it gave me faith in my stop, you know, and it was 11.75 points. That was the stop I used. And my entry was the stop was at the very right spot. You know, it just gives me more confidence that my scalping entries are just miraculously on par. I got stopped for break even on one of my runners. That sucks. Gonna have to deal with it. Remember back in the day with my trailer that I used to use, that it would constantly stop me out. I'm going back to the kind of that style of trading, and I was able to pull off some pretty large wins just by moving my runner to a spot that looked interesting for a little bit of a swing, and you know, I'm expecting that will happen. Hopefully, it will. You know, back in those days, I was holding more runners. You know, I wasn't taking. My scheme was taking half off at 5 points, and then taking the rest off at some kind of runner with a trailer stop that was protected by break even. But like 90% of the time, I would get stopped out for half of my load at break even, and you know, you actually risked on it. when you entered in, you risked your full stop. And just because you got out for 5 points on half of it doesn't mean that you didn't put yourself at risk in the market at one point. So the risk and reward still doesn't even work out all that great, because you're getting stopped out for half your load at break even, and that is frustrating. You're like, base hits mentality. You got half your load still, and you just watch it go from 20 points to 0. Like, well, fuck. Got to trade. I got to look for another trade now. And in this case, I took every contract on my first take profit, which was reasonable at 12 points. And then I held one runner. And I was in like less than $20 of profit at one point. Well, actually, I was more than that, because at whatever point I was at the place where I got my first take profit done. But it immediately came back after that. And, it wasn't that big of a deal, because I had already made $400 on the day. And, the $20 would have been nice, or $60 would have been nice. But, it seems like a little bit easier to swallow. I'm grateful for the profit that I did lack. And we're just going to give this a fair shake. Not locked into this forever. Just gonna see how it goes. 6 contracts, 12-point stop, basically 1-to-1 R with a little bit of sweetener to the deal with a possible runner. 8 to 9:30 is my window, and it's closed. And I've been talking about the market the whole time, or talking about risk management the whole time, and I haven't even really been paying attention to the charts. But we are bearish. But my day is done. 9:30 is the time that I agreed. So I have an hour and a half to profit. Crazy. No adding to losing positions under any circumstances, even if I'm good at it. Someday I might try $150,000 account or something, and maybe play with that someday, just because I'm good at it, and I think that it feels like I can figure it out. But half the problem is there's just no time to figure it out. When you make a mistake, it's over, and at this point, I can't afford that anymore. Then we're gonna start logging, doing a daily journal. In front of the world. And who knows? Maybe someday my system, my new trading journal system will be so cool, and I'll do such a good job on talking about it on stream and showing people the value of journaling your trades. Who knows? Maybe maybe that's the untapped thing that I've just come across. You know, like people are like, hey, how can I get a copy of this trade journal? We're like, well, let me tell you. It might be a product that I could sell to other traders who I've convinced that you know, it's a good idea. And half the problem here is that, you know, journaling is a pain in the ass. Half the problem is half the problem here is that you're taking 300 fucking contracts a day and you're like, you know, fuck this. You're like, how many times can you put in your journal, oh, I YOLO'd this, or oh, I was desperate for a profit, so I just fucking guessed, or I was bored, the market was chopping and I needed a profit. And those are the things that keep people from journaling because of that behavior. Nobody wants to journal that crap. Everybody knows that it's wrong. Everybody doesn't want to see that mirror of, you know, it makes you ill just to recount it, to think about it in the past. It's like something that you just want to distance yourself from. You're like, no, I don't want to think about my trades today. That's for sure. But in this way, with a more professional risk approach, you know, taking 2 setups a day, taking you know, max losses and stuff. You know, if God forbid if that should happen, you know, so journaling 2 trades that you staked your day on is a lot different than journaling an entire day of 200 contracts and 46 trades trying to get back to break even. You know, fuck that. So if I could show people the way, who knows? Maybe the system will be marketable. This is another whippoorwill, by the way. If you're struggling, maybe this stream will end up being the savior for lots of traders who are not fucking dumbasses. There's another way out there. And we've all learned bad habits. We've all watched other people do bad habits and think that that's how the game of trading works. And that's just not how it works. It's just plain not. Unfortunately, like most things in life, it's not a strategy problem, it's a discipline problem. And to think that, you know, I often have already thought that I'm one of the most disciplined people I know. And the things that I've done in life are beyond belief, beyond reproach. I've done some epic fucking things with my life. I've accomplished epic things. And to think that I still have a discipline problem. It's almost hard to believe. You're like, no, that can't be the problem. I definitely have to tighten up my entries. I got leaky entries. I got bad luck. I was born under a bad sign. Probably be one of the strongest people on the face in the history of existence if I solve these issues. That sounds nice to me. And I'm happy today because I didn't violate any of my rules. Day 1 in the books. I followed my plan. And day 1, and being a success. So like that is your first day to retrain yourself. The first day to be like, everything worked out just fine. I followed my plan. I didn't break any of my rules. I profited. I did everything I set out to do today in 3 seconds. So it's a huge win, huge win. Psychology-wise, you know, you think about it, the problem with this whole thing and changing and trying to do it a different way is that, you know, the fear of the unknown. You've been so used to having that gambler side of your trading, and you're afraid to give it up because that's what you know, and you think that you're doing everything right, and you just can't put it together for whatever reason. And so changing that, it's like Stockholm syndrome. The very thing that is causing your downfall is the thing that you love, and it's like an addiction that you have to break. Adding to losers, moving your stop, wide stops that just expose you right off the bat to this catastrophic losses. It's like no wonder I have a 17 fucking win streak. You know, like I have wonder that if it's the reason I have a 17 win streak is because out of necessity, that I've become so bound up, so wound up about trading that I've pulled off a 17 wins in a row. And you know, that's really impressive. It's a really cool feat. But I can't help but think that it might be because I've worked myself into a fucking frenzy that I've won 17 times in a row. It's hard to explain. Daily loss limits. And, you know, copy trading is a real cool part of the strategy, because I only have to do it a little bit on one account every single day, and then times 3, he's sitting there waiting for me when ready to pull out some profits. Trading under survival, fight or flight, you know, it's like I've already traded accounts for multiple long stretches without blowing up, and that was the idea then. The only problem is that I was still leaving myself open to all that risk. And in this case, you know, as long as I'm like, maybe I'll take a win rate hit. Maybe I'll get stopped out more often. Maybe my win rate will go to 60% or 70%. But it's still going to be all right. It's still going to work out better, as if, you know, what's cool about trading for 30 days and having $4,000 worth of profit locked into a fucking account that you can't get out, and then blowing up on day 31 and then losing everything. You know, what is the actual point there? And the reason is because I was leaving myself open to that. Because there was that 1 day, 1 minute of mental failing, and it's all over. And all I did today was just remove that pressure. So it can never happen to me if I follow my rules. there you go. Deep dive primer on the things that I've learned about risk management. I think it will be I think it'll be a good thing. Literally in the best short of the day, you know, if I had a 35-point stop, I would have survived this peak. Isn't that crazy? Talk about a scalper that took a fucking swing entry, which I constantly am doing. Constantly. I am constantly taking the best trades. I literally took profit right here. Just this little teeny tiny movement. And look how much my entries are giving. And I still made $400 today. It's just fucking incredible. This market in this profession is just incredible. And to think that there's that much more to capture is scary, hopeful, like what do you call that? Incredulous. Like I can't even believe it. I can't even believe what's available to you if you put your mind to it. And we will get there. One of these days, my one contract runner, I'll take profit here. And definitely looking forward to that. Unfortunately, I'm going to probably have to start entering on stops if I want that. Because I'm going to have to take these entries instead of these. Just know that they will stop out the last freaking thing, period. They did it here, stopped out this entry, scalper's profit, and then go back right up to the high. Just a little bit over, just to stop out everybody who entered in here looking for this, you know. And it's just a simple tweak. You're missing. You're like 3 points above the highs. It's like a mental fix. You'd be like, all right, I would have normally entered in here, but today I'm going to enter in here or here on a stop. You know, you think, okay, when's the last time a high got run? Over here. Okay, so there's this entry, and it dropped, broke the low, then came up. Okay? You're automatically thinking, sorry, I tried to mute. You're automatically thinking, okay, here's my entry. Boom. But the deal is that this didn't break any highs. So you would expect that since this broke a low, that it's going to try to break that fucking high. And sure enough, 3 fucking points right above where you entered it. Or 3 points right where your stop would have been. And so thinking about that little thing, being like, all right, this is my entry, but since this is just, it hasn't broken any highs, let's just wait, see what happens, and then when it breaks that high, boom, that's where you enter. That's how I'll start getting those runners. Because I'm always in on the first entry, the impulse of the entry. That makes total sense to me. But waiting for that high break is not something I'm used to. I'm used to sitting through it with 35-point stops. So 9:53. Unleashed. So I'm building discipline today. I've survived a trade for tomorrow. I profited. I am right in the middle of my low profit goal and my high profit goal. My first day of changing the way that I've been thinking. And, we profited over $400, or not over $400, but close to $400 in about 3 seconds today. And now, tomorrow morning, I will have probably the first prototypes of my my journaling system that I'm going to create, a custom journal system around the way that I work. And I'm excited about it, and I'm going to be able to get to work on it here very shortly. Alright, well, I'm going to end it there. I'm going to go have my first cigarette of the morning, and we'll see you around tomorrow at 8:30 for more responsible NQ trading. Appreciate you guys coming out. Like the stream before you go. Subscribe if you aren't already. Got a good thing going here. Should definitely come by and check us out again on our psychology risk management journey. That's what it's all about. No matter what, you can blow your $15 evals all you want if that's what makes you happy. But I'm after something different. I'm after being a professional, and this is the unfortunate journey that is required. So come follow the progress and maybe learn a thing or two yourself. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. See you, Catherine the Great. Hope you enjoyed the show.